Morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We will begin with chapter 6, verse 20. So Hashem tells Noach that he should build this teva, he should build this ark, and various animals are going to come on the ark. Let's actually start from verse 19. It'll be for you and for your children and for your wife. And now in verse 19, from all life forms, you should bring to the ark 2 from each life form. 20 from the birds, the birds, from the animals, from all those which crawl on the ground. 2 from each of these species will come to you to live. Jump ahead for a moment to chapter 7, verse 2. Mikol habeima Torah tikach lecha shiva shiva ish v'ishto. From all of the pure animals, the kosher animals, there's discussion about this. You should take 7 of each type. But an animal that's not pure, that's not kosher, 2 from each. Okay. Now, what's interesting, so in other words, there were different numbers in terms of the animals. It depends if it was a kosher species or a not kosher species. But what's interesting is in verse 20, it said they'll come to you. And in verse 2, it says you should take them. So which one is it? So if you look at the Ramban on Pasuk Chaf, back in chapter 6, Perek Vav Pasuk Chaf, Shnayim mikol yavo elecha lachayos, hodio ki me'atzmam yavo l'fanav shnayim. So God is telling Noach that he just has to build it and they will come. It seems it was true even before the movie, Lahavdil, that he should build the teva and then they'll just come. He's not going to have to trap the animals. He's not going to have to hunt the animals. They'll just come. And then once they come, he'll, bring them in, but he's not going to have to go find them. What actually happened is there was a male and female that came from each species. With the kosher animals, that there's more animals, it doesn't say they'll come to him. He has to take them. The animals that are coming so that their species will continue, those animals are coming on their own. But the animals, remember, the classic idea is that Noach brought sacrifices once he got back onto dry land. And it's a famous question, how did he know to bring sacrifices? And one of the classic ideas is that the fact that he was supposed to bring different numbers of the kosher animals versus the non-kosher animals was a tip to Noach that he was supposed to bring all these additional animals as sacrifices. So the non-kosher animals can't be brought as sacrifices. So the non-kosher animals, the 2 from each species, they're just being brought just as there's continuity of the species. The animals that are going to come on their own. But the animals that are being brought beyond that to be brought as sacrifices, lo gasa shiavo me'atzmam li shachet. God doesn't feel that it's fair that they should just walk up to Noach and that the whole purpose of their coming on the teva is going to be meet their death later. Aval lekacham Noach, those Noach has to go and get. Very interesting contrast. Because the instruction of 7 from the kosher species was that Noach would be able to bring a korban. So just a very interesting Ramban in Pshat. It's a fascinating, filling in of the picture a little bit. Okay, moving on to chapter 7, verse 4. God says to Noach, Ki liyamim od shiva, in another 7 days, anochi mamtira al haaretz 40 yom v40 layla. I will bring rain down upon the land for 40 days and 40 nights. And I will wipe away all of the establishment which I've had from upon the face of the earth. You ever wonder why the flood was supposed to last for 40 days? Noach was on the ark for much more than 40 days because had to wait for the waters to subside. But what is the significance of 40 days? Surely there are many, many ideas about this. I just want to share with you a Kliyakar on Pasuk Daled, 40 Yom, Kineged She'avdu Avodah Zarah. So he says that the idea of the 40 days is because they worshipped idols. Va'amoda va'avodah zarah, a person worships idols. Kekofir b'chol Torah, shenit alar boim yom. And it's like a person is denying the Torah. In other words, the Torah was a 40-day process of being given, right? Moshe went up for 40 days. So by doing idol worship, it's like that's fundamentally counter to the Torah. Also, we know one of the other sins was sexual immorality. So because they were in an inappropriate way sexually, they caused their creator to create these babies that were mamzerim, that were not the product of appropriate sexual relations. And we say there's 40 days for the creation of a fetus. Gezel, and the other big sin was theft. What's the significance of 40 to Gezel? Ki Gezel misparo arboim. Pretty cute. The gematria of the word Gezel is 40. Interesting. Okay, it's an interesting kliyakar. Let's keep on moving. Chapter 8, verse 1. Chapter 8, verse 1. So the flood is storming and going for 150 days. Okay, and now chapter 8, verse 1. Vayizkor Elokim es Noach, vayizkol hachayav vayizkol habehema asher ito b'teva. God remembered Noach, all of the animals that were with him in the ark. Vayaver Elokim ruach al haaretz, and God brought a wind upon the earth. Vayashoku hamayim, and the waters began to subside. What exactly does it mean when it says God remembered Noach? What does that mean? Does that mean that God forgot that he was on the ark? Is, oh gosh, Noach. Like it's hard to believe. So very interesting Ramban over here. Ramban on Pasuk Aleph. Vayizkor Elokim es Noach, vayizkol hachayav vayizkol habehema. Haschira b'Noach mipnei shehaya tzadik tamim v'karas lo bris latzilo. So what it means that he remembered Noach is that he recognizes that Noach is this perfect tzaddik. And he had made a covenant that he was going to save Noach. He told Noach he was going to save him. By the way, clearly, what we mean here when we talk about remembering is not that God had forgotten. It means remembering, like we talk about Zichronos on Rosh Hashanah. If you remember, we actually quote the pasuk by Noach, that it means God sort of looks at us, looks at our merits. God looked at Noach's piety and is acting upon the fact that he had told Noach he would save him. So now it's time for God to do it. Now, it's not only Noach that God saved. Noach's not the only person that God saved. So it's funny. So God remembers Noach and the animals. There are all these other people on the ark. Noach's family is on the ark. So what does it mean that did God not remember the family? So Noach, it means Noach and family. That's the meaning of Noach. Why doesn't he mention them explicitly? You know why he doesn't mention the family of Noach explicitly? Because all these people were saved in Noach's merit. It's not about these people that they're saved. It's about Noach. Okay, so now I understand what it means that God remembered Noach is Noach had merits, and those merits carried his family. But then it says that God remembered the animals. So, what merit did Bessie the cow have? What does that mean? So he says what it means in terms of remembering the animals is not that they had a specific merit. The only life form of this world that's judged by God is humanity. What it means that there was remembering of them, God remembered his holy words, that when God originally declared that the world should exist, and the will that he had in creating the world, came before him. And he remembered that he had a plan, that the world would exist, that the species would exist. So now God remembers what his initial plan had been. God thinks back to that. It says, I want to take them off of the ark. What about the birds? What about the crawling creatures? It's understood. It means that he remembers all life forms. But just it's a very interesting Ramban. So, first of all, he says the word remembering means different things in the pasuk. In the context of Noach, it means remembering Noach's merits. In the context of the creatures of the world, it means remembering God's original plan for why he wanted the world in the first place. Okay. Let's now jump ahead to verse 20. So everybody comes off of the ark. Vayivan Noach mizbeach l'Hashem. Noach built an altar to God. Vayikach mikol ha'beimah torah mikol ofa tahor. And he took from all of the kosher animals and birds. Vayalo los b'mizbeach. And he brought offerings on the altar. Verse 21. Vayarach Hashem es reach hanichoach. And God smelled the fine scent of the offerings. Vayomer Hashem al libo. And God said to his heart, Lo osif l'kalol od eswadam avur. I will no longer curse the land because of man. Ki yetzer lev ha'adam ra min urav. Because the inclination of man is bad from his youth. V'lo osif od la'kos kol chai kasher asisi. I will not continue to strike all life as I have done. Okay, so now God says he's not going to destroy the world again. And it's fascinating. It really seems to be in response to Noach's offerings. Fascinating thing to think about. But a little bit more technical, what does it mean when it says God said to his heart? What do those words mean? Ramban and Pasuk Chafal, Vayomer Hashem elibo, Lo gila hadavar lamnavi bismanahu. God did not reveal these words to a prophet at those times. Rak b'yom tzavoso es Moshe b'chsivas haTorah gila ilav. Kikasher hikriv Noach korbano al lefanav l'ratzon v'gazar shelo Yosef lahakos es kochai. A very interesting Ramban. Ramban says that the pshat in the pasuk is that God made a decision at that time. But he didn't tell Noach about the decision. So when was this decision ever revealed to humanity? This decision was only revealed to humanity when the Torah was given to Moshe Rabbeinu. But God wanted it to be that for Doros, for generations, when the Jewish people would look at the Torah, we would look at this moment and would say, oh, this is the moment that God decided that there would be no more destruction of the world. But so that's the pshat, that God didn't say it to anyone at the time. God made the decision, but it's like noted for future generations when they would learn the Torah. Very interesting pshat. Just want to see the sforno very quickly. It's the second sforno on the pasuk, on pasuk Chafal. Vayomer Hashem el libo, shelo gilu l'Noach levanav ad shekiblu mitzvosav v'heikim bris. The sforno says that clearly what both Mefarshim are explaining is, what does it mean God said to his heart? Why does it just say God said? The answer is because God didn't say it to anybody. So Ramban says this was only going to be seen by humanity way later down the road when the Torah was given to Klal Yisrael. Sforno says, no, it means that once Noach and his sons formally accepted a covenant with God, then God would tell them. But it's not that it's going to be first revealed to Moshe, it's going to be first revealed to Noach, just not exactly at this moment. So we discussed this morning the difference between the animals coming to Noach and Noach getting the animals. We discussed an idea of the 40 days. We discussed what it means that God said to his heart. We also discussed what it means that God remembered Noach and the